Call this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take a moment of silence to honor the passing of our longtime solicitor and community leader, Ted Watts. Thank you.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mrs. Davis? Mr. DeFrancesco?
Here.
Mr. Giroux?
Here.
Mr. Kulik?
Here.
Mr. Johnston?
Here.
Mr. Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Valesky?
Here.
All right.
Recommend approval of the meeting minutes as listed. So move. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We have a brief presentation this evening. Ms. Audrey Baird, Piper Sandler. Sure.
I'll be short. Where would you?
Anywhere
prefer?
you would
Okay.
like, anywhere you're comfortable.
All right. There's two agenda items this evening. I'll speak to the easier one first. You have a resolution in front of you to approve the refinancing for the Crawford County Career and Tech Center's debt. The savings is upward of $750,000 right now. Last night, Connie Ott approved moving forward. Crawford Central is scheduled on the 23rd to approve, and the JOC will approve next week. So assuming all four groups do approve that, then we'd be able to lock in interest rates and lock in that refinancing for you. There's no additional debt, no changing of payment dates. That's strictly lower interest rates replacing higher ones. And the State Public School Building Authority is the issuer of that debt, and they have already approved it as well. Any questions about that one? That's the easy one. Okay, great. The other agenda item that you have tonight, I know you're considering a contract with McClure to move ahead with some projects. And also you have some roof repair and replacement projects that you're considering. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight, excuse me, approving the authorization of debt. And it's $37 million. It would cover all of the projects that you're considering for all three campuses plus the roof repair. This resolution authorizes the paperwork to start. It does not obligate you to borrow a single dollar. What this resolution does is gets the state filing with DCED started. Remember that newspaper ad that we talked about that I'm sure you all saw in the paper? That's part of the packet that's submitted. We apply for and are working on your rating and all the things that have to happen to be able to borrow money. And then if you decide to move ahead with that, we get all the paperwork started, we'll come back to you at a later date in pieces as we've discussed, potentially borrowing about 9.7 to 9.9 million this calendar year and borrowing money again next year and potentially a third time, should you decide to move ahead with each project. So again, the resolution authorizes all of those borrowings. It doesn't obligate you to any of them. And I know you've heard from me a few times about the process, so I'll just ask if there's questions rather than try to bore you with a fourth repeat of the process. I'm sorry, I know I got long-winded a couple times when I was here. What questions do you have that I maybe missed last time? It's hard to tell with the mask. You gotta give me a nod. Is it okay? Everybody's okay?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Great.
You did a fantastic job.
So, since I'll just lump all the questions, I guess, for the board together. Jen, do you have anything that you'd like to say, or just be here to answer questions?
Yes, I'm just here to answer any questions you may have. Audrey explained that this is a parameters resolution so that several bond issues can be issued underneath this bond issue resolution. So yes, I'm just here to answer any questions you might have. It sounds like Audrey's done a great job at vetting the board on this project and all that it entails so far.
Thanks, Jen. And Jen is, I forget what company, I apologize.
I heard Siemens.
Thank you. She is our bond counsel, and she's worked with everybody as well. Also on the line is George Joseph. Attorney Joseph has reviewed both the McClure contract and the resolution and bond documents on behalf of the school district. Mr. Joseph has been working with a variety of people. We've gone back and forth a couple of times. He made several recommendations. He has reviewed both documents with Brian Hobson, myself, and Dave Dixon. We all believe that everything is in order. Mr. Joseph, would you like to add anything?
I don't really have anything to add, I suppose. I did review all the documentation, including the performance-based energy savings agreement. And for the board's edification, I guess the guarantee is on page 8 of that agreement and references Schedule D, which you'll probably want to look at. But that's what the board is saying they're going to be able to do for you over the life of the project. Guaranteed energy saving project is a little bit different than you doing a simple renovation project, as the Separations Act would have you do separate contracts for your general HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. In this particular contract, guaranteed energy savings provisions of the Pennsylvania law will allow you to contract with McClure to do all of that work, and they will sub it out.
So I guess lastly, since we're just...
Moving one to here.
That is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to
You
hear.
want me to finish and then you can...
Yeah, you can finish, and then Eric, if you want to say anything else.
I would say that we're ready to go. We're excited to get started. We're looking for board approval this evening. I actually brought executed contracts with me tonight as the Vice President of the Energy Service Department from McClure Company. So like I said, we're very excited. This is Shane Holman. If there's any questions you guys have, we're here to answer them. But we're here to obviously excited to work with the district and ready to go.
All right. Anything else?
I'll just say my final remarks is the resolution for the debt borrowing, separate from McClure's contract, is so long, not because Jen wants to be long-winded, but because it incorporates everything that has to happen as far as, I mentioned the DCD application and the rating and the things that your solicitors, Jen, myself, Brian, all those things we have to do are all incorporated in one motion. So it does need to be a roll call vote, but that one action allows us to do everything.
Thank you.
That was the only thing I had to add unless another question popped up.
All right, I appreciate it. We have a student representative recording, so I'm going to play that for you. One moment.
Good evening. My name is Heiko Peters from the PENNCREST. I am here to update you on what's happening at Sagertown High School. Sophomore Sam Hetrick placed 25th at the PIAA Cross Country Championship on November 7th in Hershey to win a medal. He is a returning medalist from last year. The Cambridge Springs girls soccer team won their first District 10 championship in program history when they defeated Seneca with a score of 3-1. They will face Red Bank Valley on Saturday in the quarterfinals of the PIAA state tournament. The Sagertown girls volleyball team clinched the District 10 title with a win over Cochranton on November 5th. They will play Bishop Canavan in the quarterfinals of the PIAA state tournament on Saturday. The Sagertown varsity football team also had a great season this year with a winning record of 5-3. This was the first winning season in 5 years. Winter sports season will be starting soon. The first official practice is November 20th. First games and matches will be December 11th. Students and teachers are adjusting to the virtual hybrid. Students report that they like to be able to work at their own pace from home. And teachers report that many students are participating in daily classes through Google Meet and other tools. For Veterans Day yesterday, Principal Tom Baker shared the history of Veterans Day through the announcements. and the students observed a moment of silence. We hope to return to the traditional assembly next year. Thank you to all who have served. Math teacher Steve Simchak won his second Golden Apple Award on October 28th. His Golden Apple segment aired on Det 24 last night. You can view it at the link. The Tormac 1100M CNC made its first part last week in the metal shop. Students are excited to continue learning how to run this machine. From the guidance office, all juniors and interested seniors will take the ASVAB on December 16th and 17th. The PENNCREST released an election issue, which you should receive tonight. Check out thepenncrest.com for more updates. Thank you for your time. Follow us on @PENNCREST SHS on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
They also have an update from PAA President Melissa Statman.
Good evening. Tonight, I would first like to recognize Ted Watts. It's a bit surreal to think that he won't be sitting around this table again. He was such a big part of this district and this community, and his loss will be felt by everyone. Would also like to extend our condolences to his family and friends. As we watch the case counts in Crawford County rise, it is up to us to keep our schools open as a community. Everyone in this community needs to do the right thing, wear a mask, isolate yourself to a small group of people, and be vigilant. The only way our schools can remain open and our students safe and our teachers safe is if we stop the spread of this virus. Please, everyone, wear a mask, social distance, and keep everyone safe.
There are no citizens' comments. I'm going to begin to move through the agenda. Athletic Committee, Mr. Gulick, Chairman. Recommend approval to employ the following coaches.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Recommend approval to employ the following cheerleading advisors.
On behalf of the committee, make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, athletic travel. Recommend approval of the athletic travel as listed.
Since I am opposed to this motion, I will open it up to my colleagues to make that motion.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I've been pretty consistent about my wishes that students don't travel outside of Crawford County the most. I don't think that a wrestling tournament or two is worth the risk of bringing COVID back to the schools or bringing it back to grandma and killing her. I know that sounds extreme, but it's possible. And a wrestling tournament is not worth that. I will not approve this travel, and if others feel differently, that's fine. I respect your opinion, but my conscience will be clear.
Roll call. Roll call. Wait, any other comments?
Just a couple things. I don't think anyone supports, anyone dying. But, there's not been any documented proof of COVID being transmitted through athletic events. I saw that the NFL Director of Health put that out, that COVID is not being spread through any athletic event. The spread is through other community areas. Both of these tournaments, one is a team tournament, you wrestle, and then the teams go to a classroom at Central Mountain. They're not doing an individual tournament. So Central Mountain's the way that they're dealing with it is through, when you're not on the mat, you're not socializing, you're in your own classroom with your teammates. And each team has their own classroom. The Powerade tournament is an individual tournament, and what they've done is divided it into weights, so the smaller guys wrestle than the bigger guys. And they're limiting spectators to both of those events. These are all difficult decisions. I don't begrudge anyone their vote one way or another, but I do think that these are important things, and we've seen the value that our kids have gotten from sports, particularly so far in the fall, and I would support both of these.
All right. Roll call.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis. Is she on?
Not here, no.
That was it.
DeFrancesco,
No.
Giroux,
Yes.
Gulick,
No.
Johnston,
No.
Lynch,
Yes.
Valesky.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Education Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman. Item A, recommend approval of the attached Title I school parent and family engagement policies for the elementary schools.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of the attached elementary instructional time template.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Facilities and Transportation Committee, Mr. Johnson, Chairman. Although we have no items, we have met twice over the past couple months, I guess, with McClure, and reviewed a lot of the documents that we've talked about and are going to vote on today, so I appreciate their extra time. Finance Committee, Mr. Brown, Chairman. Item A, recommend approval of the attached treasurer's reports.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, disbursements. Recommend approval of the attached disbursements.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval of the attached performance-based energy savings agreement between the McClure Company and the PENNCREST School District. Roll call vote, please.
Discussion?
Oh, discussion, yes.
We need a motion first.
Oh, yeah.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
There's our motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I like to inform the public out there what this is all about. It comes to a time that all our buildings need to be upgraded. Unfortunately, it was not done before as quickly as it was supposed to be. However, we run into a time now the interest rates are very low. And the amount that we're approving is pretty large, I admit it. And probably it's going to be a small tax increase, which will be geared mainly for the project. It's something that needs to be done. I don't like to spend any millions of dollars, but this time is something that is needed. And like I say, the interest rate at the right time to borrow money because the interest rates are very low. Every building needs to be upgraded. And by upgrading, we're going to get some return back by saving energy. Because all the equipment that use energy right now, they're very old, and they use up a lot of energy that needs to be cut down, and that's what we're doing. So there's some return. I think the millage pretty low. Mr. Hudson, what's the millage that you stated before?
It'll be a total of $2.5 to $3 million over a 3-year period.
If you compare it to the millage you would pay for the public libraries, it's pretty close to the same. So, it will not impact us taxpayer that much. But this project is needed, and I really urge our board members to vote for it.
Well, just to piggyback on that, it's been a very long time since we've done anything with the buildings, either while I've been on the board or prior to that. Again, like Luigi said, interest rates probably will never be lower. Material costs certainly aren't going to be lower. Construction costs aren't going to be lower. And I guess the final thing that I would say is that we're not doing any frills. We're not doing anything just to make anything look better. This is all necessary work that really, in my opinion, has to be done. So, having said that, I'm done.
Anybody else? All right. Roll call.
So we just have
Yep.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, DeFrancesco,
Yes.
Giroux,
Yes.
Gulick,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Valesky.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval to adopt the attached resolution to incur non-electoral debt. And again, once we get a second in the motion discussion, we're going to get a roll call vote.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right, roll call.
Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
DeFrancesco,
Yes.
Giroux,
Yes.
Gulick,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Valesky.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval of the attached June 30th, 2020 single audit report.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I wanted to say, Brian, good job. It's been a pleasure. Every audit report's been awesome. So
Not just me.
I know, but you've been the general leading this, and I greatly appreciate it. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Does that mean it's not allowed to retire?
No, we haven't approved that yet. So. Sorry, buddy.
All right, anybody else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item F, recommend approval to advertise the attached request for proposals for legal services.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item G, recommend approval of the attached 2018-19 school-based access program billing agreement with IU5 for the reimbursement to the district of $34,678.15.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Recommend approval of the attached agreement with the NPRC for the rental of classroom learning space at Sagertown High School for the spring of 2021.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item I, recommend approval for the attached resolution to approve the Crawford County Career and Technical Center's 2020 project and 2020 financing plan, and then after some discussion and a motion, a roll call vote.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Here's the ball. Thank you.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
DeFrancesco,
Yes.
Giroux,
Yes.
Gulick,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Valesky.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item J, recommend approval of the following student activity club.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Item K, recommend approval to close the following student activity clubs.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Personnel Committee, Mr. Brooks, Chairman. Item A, resignations. Recommend approval to accept the following resignations.
On behalf of the committee, so moved. Second.
Discussion?
We have to accept all of them.
I mean, we can break them apart. Here's the thing, okay?
I know.
Even if we say no,
I know.
his last day is June 30th.
But there's a glimmer of hope.
No, there's no glimmer of hope. No.
My only hope's in Brian's eyes on June 30th.
I think Brian's going to read everything you put in front of him to sign.
He doesn't need to
Would
do
you
that.
just type it down?
All right, gosh. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, recommend approval of the following leaves of absence in accordance with policy 435.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, recommend approval to employ Lisa Burdick as a long-term Spanish teacher assigned at Maplewood Junior Senior High School effective October 27, 2020, continuing through the end of the 2021 school year.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. I should ask you this before.
Go ahead.
What do you mean by long-term substitute? Is this due to,
We're going to use CARES money to cover the additional substitute, long-term substitute. So she'll be here for the entire school year, teaching day-to-day. She has a caseload of students. In other words,
so we don't have a full-time Spanish teacher?
we have two in the whole district. Two in the whole district, two French. Well, it gets part-time. We need a Spanish teacher, Luigi. See? We need her.
All right, where were
You need to call the vote. Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item D, recommend approval to employ Catherine Foster as a temporary speech and language clinician as a per diem rate of $220 per day.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item E, recommend approval to employ Frank Shields as a maintenance manager assigned to the Cambridge Springs attendance area effective December 1, 2020. Salary and benefits prorated in accordance with the Act 93 support compensation plan.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item F, recommend approval to employ Alex Cummings as an after-school instructor for the PENNCREST Cyber Academy effective October 14, 2020. Mr. Cummings will be teaching 1 1/2 hour per day at the $25 an hour rate.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item G, recommend approval of the following non-instructional transfers as listed.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item H, recommend approval for a professional staff member to access up to 56 days from the professional sick bank leave in accordance with the recommendations of the Professional Sick Leave Bank Committee. That was rough.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
All right. Item I, recommend approval to discharge Cecile Dallas as a non-instructional employee in accordance with Article 13, Section 4 of the negotiated contract.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item J, recommend approval to employ Kayla Zerschlag as a substitute learning support teacher assigned to Maplewood Elementary School effective November 23 and through December 22nd in accordance with the Prospective Teacher Substitute Act of '86.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item K, recommend approval of the following volunteers as listed.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Policy Committee, Mr. DeFrancesco, Chairman. Item A, they've been on first reading for 2 months now. Recommend approval of the Title IX policies as listed.
I move to accept the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item B kind of correlates to item A, recommend approval to repeal policy 103.1, non-discrimination, qualified students with disabilities.
I move to accept the recommendation of the committee.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, first reading of policies. There is no vote necessary. There are 7 policies for the board and public to read and review, and we will hopefully vote on those next month. Item 11, School Safety Committee, Mr. Brown, Chairman. Item A, recommend approval to authorize a district and enter into an attorney-client fee contract with Franz Law Group. And I'm going to stop there.
On behalf of the committee, so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Crawford County Career and Technical Center report. Mr. Johnson, is there anything you'd like to report on?
I was working that night.
That's right. Luigi, Mr.
I
Giroux.
didn't take the notes, did I?
The bond was the big.
Yeah, we talked about the bond. That was
really bad.
All right. Intermediate unit report. Mr. Brooks, representative.
A couple interesting things they brought up. In a statewide survey, 25% of students don't have access to broadband internet for a variety of reasons. I know that's something that we worked on here in the district to give people more opportunities, but that's something that, going forward, we need to keep in mind. The IU5 had distributed some, they were called variety bikes. They're adaptive bike strollers and communication devices to eligible children to give them equipment to help them improve their lives. About $650,000 worth of equipment was distributed out to kids, which is great. And we received the annual report.
Is that for giving internet to people? Is that what that's for?
No, the variety bikes are to help kids move around their strollers.
No, I mean...
The annual report?
Yeah, you'd said about 25%.
That was a survey. Let me roll up to the top of this. The first time I've ever gotten a question on that. I just assumed people weren't listening to the IU5 report. The fallout from the COVID-19 pandemics made it impossible to ignore the nation's digital divide. Using census data from the American Community Survey, Public Policy Associates estimates 1/4 of all school-age children live in households without broadband access or a web-enabled device such as a computer or tablet.
So we made it into that agreement with Armstrong, right? Does that bring our percentages down in our district?
I don't know. I know that there is, I have looked at the data, and I think we're maybe a little better than 25. But again, when you start talking high-speed broadband, that number drops down significantly. We have put 9, well, we count our schools. We have 4 locations at the schools, and then we have 5 satellite locations. The last one, Venango Valley Fire Department, actually got installed yesterday and should be up and running. I was actually in Blooming Valley yesterday and stopped in to make a phone call. There's a dead spot there. I used their hotspot, or their Wi-Fi enabled calling to make a call. So they're up and running, they're working. I don't know what kind of usage there is now, but I think it was a good investment of time and effort for the district. And I'm glad that those community partners were able to, allow us to install that equipment and put up a sign and allow our parents and students to, pull in and use the Wi-Fi. Anybody can use it and go stream Netflix it, anywhere you like. Don't go to Blooming Valley Fire Department to stream Netflix, but you know what I'm saying. You have the ability of hotspots there. And I have talked to a couple families who are struggling with the affordability of high-speed internet or increasing their internet speed to accommodate their families, as some of the buildings. We've directed them back to Armstrong for some financial help, and also CHAPS in Meadville is providing some additional assistance. So we're trying to be responsive to the community, and we're trying to also do things, talk to our teachers about, if there's items that families can't upload and download at school and to their iPad, when they get there the next day on the AB schedule, they can upload. We're trying to make some accommodations for that. But broadband is an issue in PENNCREST, for sure.
So do we have a survey of our students that aren't able to get any internet at all?
We do.
Fridays?
We do have we do. There are some people that do not have access, and that's why we have the 9 locations. Again, we have 9 locations over 408 square miles, so it's not extreme. But we did put a lot of locations in an area that we knew we didn't have high-speed broadband. Chapmanville, St. Hippolyte Church, Bryan's Corner. No, I take it back. Shoot. Little Cooley. Little Cooley. So we did look at the survey and we put those hangouts, if you will, in areas we knew we didn't have high-speed internet. So they're still in good locations. Legislative report, Mr. Gulick, any report?
I don't have a report at this time.
All right, that leaves us to new business.
All right, board member remarks.
All right.
Let's start with David.
Yeah, just thank you to the administration again. You guys have been hearing a lot, but you deserve it for all the work into this year. And then secondly, we're all sorry to hear the loss of Ted Watts, for sure. And his family is in my prayers.
First of all, like I said, I think that if we printed this out, all the attachments and everything, we probably set a record for most pages we've ever approved at a board meeting. Between the audit and the contracts and everything else, this is a lot of stuff got done today. Congratulations to all our athletes out there. I think I said this last month, but in August, I'd hoped for everyone to get 1 game in, for us to get a week of school in. We're really exceeding that. And with all the challenges that these kids have had, we've got Sam Hetrick medaling at cross country. We've got 3 girls District 10 champions in our district. The combined girls soccer team from Cambridge, Maplewood, and Sagertown girls volleyball, all winning titles. That's fantastic. As far as football goes, first-year coach Nate Liberty up at Cambridge did a great job, got the team to the playoffs. Those guys really took a step up from last year. Maplewood, I know that they didn't meet their expectations out there, but they had a great season. And with the team that went undefeated through the regular season, Northwestern, they gave them their 2 best games. Didn't quite have enough to beat Sagertown this year. Sagertown was a juggernaut. Went from 0-38 in the last 4 years, to the last win in 2015 to 5-3. And the last time that Sagertown finished with an overall winning record was 2011. So those 22 men and women, we've got a girl that plays a significant amount of time on wide receiver, which you don't see anywhere really, really stepped up this year, and that's fantastic. Great job with Brian on the audit. We kind of take that for granted that it's going to be a perfect audit, and Brian's a pleasure to work with, but congratulations to him. Veterans Day, I look forward every year to the Veterans Day assembly that we have in our schools. So it really stood out that we didn't have one this year. I was pleased that I got a card from Mrs. Brown's class from Mason. Did a great job coloring a flag before me and wishing me a happy Veterans Day. I'd also like to say to everyone else, my condolences to Ted Watt and his family. Ted, a lot of stuff that people that happen in our district here isn't just here in front of the bright lights of Armstrong cable and Zoom. When you're doing contract negotiations and you're sitting in a room for a couple hours waiting for someone to get back to you, it's nice to have people you can sit there and talk to. You can hear a story about how he wrestled some freaking giant kid when he was at Waynesburg, and how this kid busted the water cooler. Or if you're sitting here and I can't think of the words to say within the rules of order let's just all shut up and vote, Ted would always whisper those words in my ear to me, so I appreciate having Ted sitting beside me. And finally, the COVID numbers are going up. I think our schools have shown, our administrators, our teachers, bus drivers, coaches, that the schools are capable of being open and that we are capable of doing that safely. The thing that we can work on as a community that the school board can't control is community spread. And we just need to take the steps that we all know we need to take. To paraphrase Jim Harbaugh, be positive, test negative, and do what you're supposed to do. Thank you. I wait till you picked up your cup before I said that.
Is it still Thursday?
I have a 4-minute mark, and I cut it right into that.
Okay, well, on a serious note, I too would like to send out my condolences to Ted Watt's family. He'll be missed. I considered him a friend, and he was a good guy. Good luck to the Maplewood and Sagertown volleyball teams this Saturday as they move on in the playoffs. Congratulations to Brian. Feel like retirement. I haven't found anything bad about it yet, so.
He's still got 6 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, he's here for a while.
I guess we're stuck with you for another 6 months.
That's it.
7 months.
Yeah. 7 months. But who's counting? And also Chris Berkey. Chris did a good job while he was here, and he's moving on, and I just want to wish him the best of luck in his new endeavor. And that's all I have.
All right. Woody?
Well, I'm just going to repeat that we're going through a hard time, and this virus really upset our lives, but it's making a big dent to our school system. And despite all the hardships that we're going through, I have to thank the administration and professional, including unprofessional individuals that are doing the best to keep this district going. The only thing that I noticed during this event is that something is wrong. We had an election where people show they don't really know what the hell the civics are. We have a governor that thinks he's the king and issue edicts. We have a Secretary of Health that come up with their own policies with total disregard of the law. And I'm asking myself, what is going on? Why isn't these people follow the law that's in the books? We have a constitution. The constitution says that the governor responsibility is to execute the existing laws. But I don't know what law he's executing right now. He just come up with whatever he wants to come up with. And people pay the price. Some people lost their jobs, they're still not working. The schools, they have a hard time continuing the curriculum, and they're doing the best they can right now, and I'm real amazed what they're doing, at least in this district. But it boils down to the point that I've noticed that a lot of people don't know what their rights are, and they don't know what to do. Do they obey whatever the chief executive says that is supposed to be doing because he says so? No. What I'm getting at, my dear board members, is that we have to start teaching our kids from kindergarten up what civics. Get rid of social studies and bring back civics. Because if people don't know it, so they grow up, don't know what their rights are, and they're not familiar with the system they live in, and they're willing to give up everything that our forefathers gave us 240 years ago, close enough, then we are in trouble. And that's all I have to say right now.
I'd like to extend my condolences to the Watts family and to the farm. We lost a good leader there. And, I'd like to congratulate our fall sports teams. We see some great activity, and I was thankful that we were able to allow that to happen despite what complications we experienced with the governor and his constant changing of the mandates. I'd like to thank our staff from the top down to the bottom. Done a great job keeping the school going, keeping the education going, keeping the sports going, keeping the building clean and safe. Thank you for all your efforts. And, I'd like to thank the folks that made it possible for us to put together this plan to upgrade our schools for the future of the students. Thank you for all your efforts. Your turn.
I'd like to thank Dr. Glassell for all the work he's been doing, keeping the school running through all the COVID-19 troubles that seem to change every time we have a meeting. And the teachers that deal with this every day, and I appreciate the fact that they still want to come and work and teach the kids. I want to thank McClure and them for the work they're going to be doing with our schools and helping to improve the quality of our buildings. And I thank you guys who are retiring for your help and the work you guys have done too. I want to thank our veterans for Veterans Day too. I appreciate what they've all done for all of us.
Things going last, there's really nothing much left. I do my deepest condolences to the Watts family. My 4 or 5 years on the board, Ted had become a friend, and there was a lot of laughs behind the scenes. Ted was very good at those what we call one-liners, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Out of the blue, he was awesome for it. So he will be sadly missed. To the fall sports, the girls and Mr. Hetrick, I'm going to lump you all in. You all did awesome. It was great to see that. And I hope winter sports has a good season despite all the COVID mess. And hopefully we do have a vaccine very soon, and that will help get things under control. To the staff, Dr. Glasspool, and all this administration, that you've done a wonderful job, and I appreciate it. Teachers, everybody. I think that's it.
All right, that is the beauty of going last, because there isn't anything else to say usually. So, with that, I don't really have, I'm not going to re-say everything that everybody's already said, so. Announcements?
Board met in executive session on October 28th, November 9, and November 12. I do appreciate all 16 or so people who are attending via Zoom. I will make sure that we can solve the audio problem so that you can hear the board members out on the far side. I apologize. We'll get better at that. That's all.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.